All right, we're gonna talk about why not to buy an electric bike. Okay, this is not clickbait. I love electric bikes, but there's gonna be some very good reasons why you do not want one. And let's start off with the question. If you ask yourself, do I want an electric bike? The answer is always going to be yes. So the real question really is, what should I do with that money? That $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. I imagine you're looking for a budget bike and you're scouring the internet looking for what to do and why you would want to get one or not. And so the question isn't, should you be getting an electric bike? The question is, with the $1,000 or whatever budget you have, what would you rather spend that money on? Okay, so there's gonna be a few categories of people who are buying electric bikes. And to be honest, there is not a good number of conversion of people who are normally riding normal bikes who are converting to electric bikes. No one is saying, oh, I'm riding regular bikes daily, normally all the time, and I'm gonna convert into an electric bike because it seems better. That's not it. It's gonna be a few categories of people who are generally new to cycling. Okay, the first category is not necessarily gonna be that, but it's gonna be people who are like myself, who just kind of likes toys and rideables and electric things. So we have, recumbent trike up there. We've got a juiced e-bike here, a do-it-yourself bike here, my kids' bikes, my college bike. I have a stand-up scooter right there. And then we got a pocket electric bike. We got a electric ice chest, a bunch of things. So the first category of people is gonna be people who just like collecting these rideable toys and just kind of love it as a fun thing. Okay, the second group of people are going to be older folks, okay? Companies, especially like ones like Electric, have combined forces with people who are, with YouTubers who run a channel about RVing. Okay, so they're generally be older folks who or maybe retired, have a little bit more time, want to spend more time together, want to do it outdoors with their significant other, and they're looking at e-bikes as a thing. Okay, so we got the toy people like myself, we have older folks, and the third category is going to people who are just kind of poking at things. Okay, so e-bikes is no secret that it's going to be, or that has been kind of the new thing. It's not new technology, but it's been kind of taken off the past couple of years. If we rewind to 7 years ago, there were drones, okay? DJI drones, like everyone and their mom had one, and they were like $1,000, $1,200, and people would buy them. And they realized they're not really photographers, they're not really videographers, and they got bored. And then there was just a huge influx of used drones on the market, and they were just sold for a lot cheaper. Okay, so that category of person, be wary, because if you fall in that category where you're curious about products just because it's exciting and happens to show up on YouTube and you're like trying to make excuses of why to buy it, think further, because you're spending a lot of money, and well, $1,000 may not be a lot of money to everybody, but you're spending a certain amount of money, and most of all, it's gonna take up space, okay? So we're gonna talk about that. That's gonna be number one on one reason why you do not want an electric bike, is going to be space. I can appreciate not everyone necessarily has a garage to store this stuff in. If you live in an apartment and you gotta climb stairs or elevators, this is not a regular weight bike of 25 to 35 pounds. This is gonna be 65 pounds, okay? So carrying that up and down the stairs, even a small flight or just a couple steps, is not something you or most people are going to want to do or really can do, okay? So storage is gonna be one big thing. And you're not gonna be able to store it outdoors like you may a regular bike that may cost a little bit less, that you maybe don't care, it gets a little bit rusty. When you're buying an electric bike and you're searching on the internet for one, you're probably gonna care about it a lot, okay? Let's go through third reason why you don't want an electric bike is that it's gonna cost a lot more than you think it will, okay? So there are gonna be popular budget bikes nowadays that start at like $1,000. Okay, so $1,000, you're gonna add $100 for tax. Okay, so that's $1,100. The e-bike you're gonna get, a lot of people are like, oh, I wanna go really fast. I wanna go faster than normal. So a normal bike helmet is gonna be rated at 20 miles per hour. And if you're gonna ride a bike that's faster than 20 miles per hour, you're probably gonna want an e-bike helmet that's rated for 28 miles per hour, up to 28 miles per hour. All right, so you got $100 for tax, you got $100 for your e-bike helmet, and don't forget, you're probably gonna want a cell phone mount, you're gonna want a decent lock. When I say decent, I mean like $80 to $100-ish to protect your investment, or your toy actually. And you're gonna want mirrors, you're gonna want gloves, you're gonna want glasses, because if you're going speeding down the street, I don't know about you guys, but when I go really fast, or even not even that fast, but just wind in my eyes, I get kind of teary, and then bugs and dirt and all that kind of stuff. So you're gonna want some sort of glasses. And nowadays it's so cold, so we're gonna want gloves, okay? So basically there's gonna be all these accessories, and they're gonna amount to about $300-ish, okay? So all of a sudden your $1,000 bike turns into $1,300, okay? Or your $1,500 bike that you see on your website is gonna cost $1,800. So just think about that the cost is gonna be a lot more than just the bike itself. You do not wanna be one of those people who budget for a car and forgets about insurance and forgets about tax and forgets about maintenance and oil changes and all that kind of stuff. So you wanna budget everything that you need to cost, that are at cost, into the cost of the bike. Okay, and that is just the numbers. There's gonna be some time, okay? Let's count that as reason number four. Number four is gonna be that you may not have time to ride the bike, really, okay? I know you're looking at YouTube and you're like, it looks really cool, they're all fun and everyone's having fun, it looks like it's just amazing. And it is, okay? But not everyone necessarily has as much time to ride the bike as we may think, okay? Even if we're not comparing ourselves to others. You may be a dad like myself and you gotta pick up kids, you gotta do laundry, you gotta prepare food, you gotta do the morning routine, the night routine, you got all these, you got soccer games to go to, all these other things, or maybe you have other hobbies, things like that, and you just don't have as much time to ride the bike as you think. And the last thing you wanna do is have a bike like this, my college bike, that's been here for a few years, and then my last house, it was sitting there for a few years. And so you don't want necessarily to buy something that's gonna sit around, especially an electric bike, because of the battery. So that's gonna be, what are we on, number 5 now? Number 5, number 6? Reasons of why you do not want an electric bike is gonna be maintenance, okay? Maintenance of the battery. So electric bike batteries, you do not wanna keep just fully charged or fully empty. They generally should be at 70%. We'll argue later about why it's 70 and not 50%, okay? Maybe that's another video for later. But the point is that you're gonna wanna maintain the bike battery at a certain voltage, okay? And so that can be kind of a pain because you may have charged it to 100% and you're not gonna ride for a week because of the weather or whatever, and you have no way of really discharging it. So you gotta really time these kind of things, and you don't wanna ride it empty, and then when you wanna ride, you don't have battery, and you don't want to charge it too early. So there's stuff to really think about as far as maintenance, okay? So let's go through the other reason, okay, I think I lost counts, number 6, number 7, about reasons why you don't want an electric bike. And that has to do with maintenance, okay? A lot of people I mentioned earlier are going to be buying electric bikes as something that's new. They're not generally cycling people, okay? Which means that you may not be familiar with how to lube a chain or change a chain or change out the brake pads or why it's making this squeaking noise, etc. And so when you have an electric bike, you're gonna have to need a place to bring that to if you're not gonna be doing it on your own. And not everyone has know-how or even wants to, and that's totally fine, but you do need to think about how you're gonna maintain or repair the bike. In a lot of bike shops, they're not gonna wanna touch electric bikes, okay? So before you buy an electric bike, please, please, please make sure you have a place that you have in mind that you can go to, that they agree they can help you with your electric bike. And a lot of these bike shops will be okay fixing the mechanical portions of it, but not necessarily the electrical portions of it, okay? So that's why I generally recommend an American brand so that you have them available on the phone, they speak English, they're available, and they're not just gonna leave you hanging, okay? So another thing is that because the bikes are so heavy, you can't put it on a standard bike rack that you would normally put on the back of a car on the trunk, okay? You're gonna need something for the hitch, like a hitch rack, okay? So we talked about budget earlier and we added $300. Well, if you don't have a hitch on your car, then that's gonna be $150-ish for the hitch and for installation. And then you're gonna buy a rack. And those hitch racks are not cheap, and they generally range from about $300-ish to like $750, okay? And that's just to transport your bike beyond a place where, or further than where you're gonna wanna drive. And that may be over a bridge, that may be in a number of places, and you may need to do that to bring the bike to a shop or an electric specific shop, okay? So maintenance is a big deal. Okay, let's continue to the last category of people who are looking to buy electric bikes. And those are gonna be people who I think actually matches the electric bike fit very well. And those are gonna be people who are not necessarily of age to be able to legally drive a car or ride a motorcycle or a scooter that needs to be licensed and registered and everything. So you're looking at an electric bike as an alternative because it's faster than a traditional bike, or it can go up hills, unlike generally a stand-up scooter of the same cost. So you're looking at electric bikes, and that makes a lot of sense, okay? But for some of those people, you may not have a place to store them easily. So again, you wanna look at storage, you wanna look at the cost, you wanna look at all those things that I mentioned, because they're very, very important, and a lot of times they're very overlooked about electric bikes, because we see that shiny new thing, we see it on the internet, we see people riding it all around in the park or in the city, and we're like, we want one of those too, that would be so cool. But then you don't see all the drawbacks of it, okay? And so that's what the list of things I talked about are the drawbacks. I'm gonna do another video about the accessories that I think that you'll need for an electric bike. I named off a few of them already, but we'll go in detail and about specific brands and stuff that I chose and stuff I consciously did not choose. So you can pick your own and decide what's good for you. But the point of this video is that there's gonna be a number of reasons why not to buy an electric bike, and accessories are gonna be one of those, and those add up pretty quickly. Okay, so you've gotten as far as this in the video and you decided you do want an electric bike. Despite all those things, you still want an electric bike. So I wanna leave you with a few warnings, okay? Number one, please, 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 do not be one of those cyclists who just go through stop signs, okay? We're supposed to ride bikes like cars, car rules, car laws, okay? So stop at stop signs, and when you get your bike and you plan to like put your kid on it or something, please, 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 ride it around for miles, for hours on your own, just to get used to it, to get the fit for it. Is the height of the saddle right? Is it forward enough? Is it far back enough? Do you know how to manage the bike on a hill? Can you turn easily and quickly and abruptly when cars are coming out or people are noticing you? So please, please be very comfortable with the bike first before you put anyone else on the back or whatever. Also, if you're getting baskets for the front or the back, it will, especially the front, it's gonna operate a lot differently. And if you load that up, the bike stand itself may not be enough to hold it properly on its own, okay? So meaning you're loading stuff up with groceries and you're stepping away for a second, the whole bike could fall down, okay? So you don't want that. So just be very careful with the bike operation and just handling it if you decide to get a bike. Okay, and the last thing, very important thing, is that the biggest regret that all electric bike owners have when they decide they got the wrong bike is because it's too heavy or too large, okay, on the websites. Even on YouTube, when you see a person standing next to the bike, it doesn't look that big, or maybe it looks kind of big. When it arrives in your house, or you go to pick it up, or you start riding it, or you see it for the first time, they are a lot bigger and a lot heavier than you expect, okay? So don't go for something that already looks possibly too big or possibly too heavy, okay? Very, very important, very, very important, because you don't want to be spending all this time on YouTube looking for a bike and you're like, oh, I found the best thing that is a great spec, but it doesn't match you personally as far as your weight or your height or your ergonomics or whatever. And I know these roadies, I don't know, some roadies might look cool to you, some people make fun of roadies. Okay, but your riding position, okay, for your electric bike, I'm gonna say needs to be, okay? I'm gonna be biased, I'm gonna have a position on this, I don't care. It's gonna be more upright. Most people riding e-bikes, you're gonna wanna have a more upright position, okay? Shoulders back, your arms up, you're not gonna be hunched over, neck down, head looking up. You're gonna want a more upright position. It's gonna be more comfortable for you. As an e-cyclist, you're trying to enjoy yourself. Oh, a few more things, okay. If you're getting an electric bike for exercise, you're not getting exercise on an electric bike, okay? The only exercise you're getting on an electric bike is gonna be similar to walking, okay? It's gonna be like walking, except you have no impact on your knees and your ankles, and you're kind of exposed to cars, okay? So you're not getting exercise, okay, beyond walking or walking briskly. So don't kid yourself. And we're gonna have a separate video about how getting an electric bike is not gonna save you money either, okay? In order to save money, I have to say this, okay? But we'll reserve most of it for another video. In order to save money on an electric bike, you're gonna have to ride many, many, many miles. And because electric bikes only have a max speed, and because you can only go so fast, you're only going to be riding a certain amount of time and therefore covering a certain distance of riding, such that cumulatively, you're not really going to be able to save that much money. So unless, okay, there's a couple exceptions. One exception is that you are going on a toll road. So by riding your bike, you're avoiding the toll road of the car that you'd otherwise be driving. And that could be $3, $5, $9 a day for that, maybe commuting to work. But I do question if you're gonna go on a toll road, are you really gonna be riding a bike versus a car? Okay, so second thing is maybe at work you gotta pay for parking. Okay, so if you're paying for parking, that can range from $3 to $30 a day. And of course, you're gonna save more money by riding a bike versus driving a car. But for most people, if you're gonna combine the number of miles that you're saving riding the bike versus gas, it's not gonna add up to an amount that is gonna be significant enough to really save you money off the bat. It may take years, okay? So I'm gonna leave you with that. Until next time, hopefully this video helped you. If you do have any questions, this is not that big of a channel, so go ahead and leave a comment and I will get back to you. All right, take care, bye-bye.